All right, so it's Sunday, the day after the New York Pro, and I have with me two champion bodybuilders, Jason Arntz.
Hello.
And Rheta West.
Hello.
And we are going to review the results of the New York Pro. So it should be pretty fun. So what I did was, let's see if I can get this going again. What I did was last night, I made sure that I could share the screen so that I could pull up Instagram and pull up some of the pictures. Let's see if that works. It should. Come on, stupid thing. No, go away. Okay. Okay, beautiful. All right. All right, you guys could see that?
Yes.
Before I get started, look, isn't this like one handsome dude right here? It's a good looking guy.
Dapper.
And before we let's get the plugs out of the way. So I do use Jason On's pre-workout, and it's actually really good. So I use 2 scoops of this.
2?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I use 2 scoops of this, and I go to the gym. So
this is high stemming up, but people have built up such a tolerance. Like
that's probably what it is. Yeah.
Years ago, this would have been people would have thought you were nuts for taking this. Now people are taking 2 scoops of it with other stuff too. It's crazy.
All right, maybe I'll back off. But anyway, it's Rogue Pro. I use it. It's really good, and it is from www.iprevailsups.com, and use your discount code SNS10 so you can get the Uncle John discount. And then if you want to get big and strong, and you are on the Rheta West section of New York, which is Syracuse, you need to go to Blood Iron Barbell, which I have the shirt on. I don't know if anybody can.
Yes, I did. I noticed.
And I'll make sure to put all those websites and whatnot in the comment section. So why don't we see if we can just get started? Where were we? Buys and tries. All right. So what do you guys want to start with? You guys want to start with the open or women's bodybuilding? I guess we'll start with the open. What do you think? I mean, it's just pretty easy. All right. So, I mean, it looks like we got a star in the making, right? I mean, what do you think, Jay? You knew him. So, you know him.
Yeah, I know Nick. Hold on. Let me pull this up also. Look, Nick, give me a second. There we go. Nick's a dedicated young man. He won my Muscle Beach years ago. And then even at that level, you saw the kid had a future a mile long ahead of him. But the kid really, you gotta hand it to him. He busts his ass. He's a hard worker. He's dedicated. He's grinding it out every day. I see his training and his updates and his videos and so forth. But this guy wants it. This guy is definitely a force to be reckoned with. Somebody who has so much size, it's rare to see the shape and the symmetry. I mean, they call him the mutant, and apropos, he looks like a mutant, but the guy actually has very a pleasing look to him also, so hats off to him. Congratulations. And I think there's a lot more to come from Nick Walker in the near future.
And just to set the record straight, you did pick him to win.
I did. Yeah, I did.
I didn't. I had picked Justin Rodriguez. But Rheta, what do you think of the New York Pro winner, Nick Walker?
He looked excellent. I mean, he was really close. And I think it was Justin the second place.
Yeah, Justin Rodriguez. Here we go.
Yeah,
was the second place guy.
Yeah, there was a couple. There was a lot where it was really close, or I thought it was kind of close. But no, he definitely had anything where there was like a little bit of difference. He had it, he had it, sharpened up way more.
Yeah. What did you think his most impressive pose was, Rheta?
You know what? It was
let me see if I could.
Yeah, because I was looking.
Let me
I
see
was
if I
actually.
could find it. Let's see. Let's go here,
Oh,
because when this guy hit, well, I mean, every pose is impressive on him, but when he hit the rear double
I was
by,
gonna say I think it was the rear because there was something on him that I was like, holy shit, the striations were crazy.
when he hit the rear double by, that was just, and this isn't even a good shot. I mean, when he hit the rear double by, it was like lights out.
Yeah, it was this one because it was his hamstrings, and I was
Yeah.
noticing the side striations across the back of his hamstrings. I've never even seen that before.
And let me see if I get a side shot of him. There we go. Oh, that's his hand is blocking it. But what did you think his most powerful pose was, Jay?
Well, like I said, he looks good in pretty much every pose. He's
Yeah.
dominant, in every pose. But yeah, his rear double bicep is, that's I don't know who's gonna push him on that one. He definitely, I mean, small waist, flowing, flaring thighs and hamstrings from the rear, a dense, detailed back. That's and proportionally sound. That's a tough shot to beat for him.
Yeah, especially at this level. I don't think anybody at this level could match up. It's just my opinion. I think when you get to the next level, the Brandon Currys and the Phil Heats and the William Bonacks, then you could probably match up. But at this level, I don't think anybody matches up. All right, so let's go to the number 2 guy, which was Justin Rodriguez, who I had picked. And the only reason I had picked is because he came in second to last year, and he won the Indy Pro this year. And he looked dominant at the Indy Pro. And it wasn't like he came in bad shape. It was just came up against Nick Walker. What did you think, Rita?
Well, I mean, like I said, it was really close, and I didn't see him at the Indy Pro. I know I went back and glanced through some of that, but I mean, that could have just been a matter. I mean, that's hard with the timing when you do the shows close like that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were a week apart. To me, I mean, his front double by is a tremendous shot. What do you think, Jay? He kind of has that Victor Martinez kind of thing going.
Yeah, he has a good flow to him. The body parts flow from one to the other, in a nice, pleasing aesthetic look. He's got, like I said, he's got everything. He just came up against Nick Walker on that day, and these guys, like you said, when they get to the next bracket, you'll start to weed out some of the guys who will be the also rans, and then you're going to see some of the top physiques in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I won't get the Olympia level, but some of those higher guys that you mentioned, before, they're not in their prime anymore. This is, I think, it's the new blood of the sport.
Yes.
And this is the direction it's going in, and it's showing you these guys are coming in shape, and they're coming prepared, and they're hungry, and it's a great window of opportunity for all of them, because I think everybody could see that these top guys are fading now. The Olympia could be up for grabs again.
And I know Justin's legs weren't as well. I don't know if it's just they're watery, but they're blurred compared to.
Yeah, he was definitely holding water. He was. Yeah. He had more, but he's got another great physique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, he was my choice to win. I've never seen Nick so improve from, I think, what did he do last year? The Chicago Pro last year?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and
he came in 4th, I think.
He did, yeah, he came in 4th. And I was just picking Justin because I've seen him before, and I've seen him improve. And I've never seen Nick have to actually improve yet, because he's so young and so new to the sport. And he really proved everybody wrong. The guy who came in 3rd, I think, was a bit of a disappointment. Hassan Mustafa, which I believe works with Chris Aceto.
Yeah.
What did you think, Rita?
I didn't pay as much attention, but I know that they, from what I was hearing, people were expecting more out of him than what he came with.
What about you, Jay? What did you think the problem was with Hassan?
Well, again, he had some water issues, but again, a big, powerful, huge legs. I mean, impressive thigh development. But a good physique. You know, he just has to dial it in a little better. And he could definitely move up those placings pretty fast.
Rita, if he came in sharper, would you do you think you could have bumped Justin Rodriguez at a second?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Jay?
Yeah, I mean that would have been. Look, it's hard to say in pictures.
Exactly, but
And it's hard to say unless you're there. And it's hard to say when one guy's off and one guy's on, because, you know, even though you could tighten him up a little bit, like you take Nick, like you were saying, Nick has, you know, striation on top of striation. And some guys, you know, maybe if they drop a little bit of water, they might not have that, but they have more of a streamlined look. So these guys, they just have to, it's tough to really dial it in, especially when you're competing week after week. But, you know, this is the business they chose. This is the sport they chose, and they got to learn how to dial it in and make the best showing. But like I said, these guys are good. So on any other day, you could switch a bunch of these positions. Just, you know, it's a matter of who dials it in that day better than the other guy.
Right.
But all good quality physiques.
Yeah, it was, you know, I was a little bit disappointed in Hassan, only because he works with Chris Aceto, and Chris, he really has a really good track record. We're bringing in guys chiseled, you know, like Sergio and Sean Roden. And I was like, well,
you know, sometimes the body doesn't always respond the way you want it to. And Chris is great. And just like you said, Chris is, you know, one of the top guys for dialing people in. But sometimes, you know, the body is a tricky thing and it just doesn't respond well.
so you think it's just a learning thing, or you think he needs to switch trainers?
No, yeah, I mean, you don't jump ship on one bed, you know, and it's
Yeah,
not like he did a bad show. I mean, he was just a little off, you know.
I can't help but wonder if it's like what people are either taking to dry out, or if it's something that they're taking, because I think that it's been a lot more common lately since I've been in the last, maybe, you know, so like the end of last year to now. I've seen a lot of people look watery that I didn't expect to.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree. And it always seems to be in the same spots too, right? Hamstrings, glutes, lower back. I mean, that seemed to be the biggest criticism on Ian Valier last year, until he came to the Olympia and shut everybody up. But in Tampa and in New York, that seems to be where he was kind of lacking a little bit.
So I don't know if it's a matter of people, you know, not being lazy, but kind of like, you know, not being as strict about what they need to do to come in dry, or if what they're taking. But I don't know. It's just something I noticed.
Yeah, you know, the best example of that is Lionel Becky. I mean, that guy just kind of always almost there, you know. And I don't know, you know, who knows, you know. All right, so number 4 was Dorian Haywood. Here he is, he's a tremendous bodybuilder. But Rita, what'd you think? What kept him out of the top 3?
His upper body didn't seem to be quite as there.
Okay. Yeah, and I think his structure too, a little bit. Like, he doesn't seem to have the V taper and the X frame as the top 3 guys.
So I guess that would make his lats just aren't out there or something. I don't know, but his upper body looks off.
What do you think, Jay?
I agree. He's look, everybody looks great when they're by themselves, and everybody looks great when they're at the gyms. But you get to this level of competition, and you put some of these guys next to somebody who's a little more structurally complete, or somebody who flows better, and it's tough to deal with, you know. So there's some things about his look that, you know, are out of his control. He can only do the best he can with what he has. So, you know, a little more refinement, maybe a little more muscle in certain areas to kind of balance out for what he's lacking from a structural standpoint. But a good overall physique.
Yeah.
And let's see, number 5. I hope I don't butcher this guy's name. Mohammed Elamam. So I think he's Egyptian, right? Yeah, he's Egyptian. I mean, great legs. But what do you think? What do you think, Rita?
I don't know. I mean, you know, the further down the list you get, I mean, his legs are, again, like the inner, like getting towards the abductor, everything above that teardrop there. There's no, there isn't the same amount of definition. you know, so I don't know if that's from water or what, but his upper body, I mean, he's got good lats. His abs could have been better, definitely.
Yeah, it
His
seems like
chest
he's
doesn't
holding a
seem to
layer
be
of water.
full either.
I'm sorry, say that again.
And his chest doesn't seem to be as full as the other guys.
What'd you think, Jay?
Well, it's the same thing. Just like, you know, Rita kind of hit the nail on the head. The further you go down the list, you're going to get the guys that don't have the structure, that don't have the, you know, that pristine look. You know, we could say the same thing about the guy in 6th place and 7th and 8th. You know, like they have 4 or 5 guys that are better than him. There's not much more he could do with this. Just keep getting better, keep improving, and hopefully move up the ladder. But you know, he was rightfully, you know, 5th. But there's certain elements that are out of these guys' control, you know, and you know, you're talking about like the top 3 guys who are pretty damn complete,
Right.
you know, and good structure where it flows nice, and that's tough to beat at this level. And this was a tough New York Pro, you know, like you're talking about these guys that are hungry to get to the Olympia stage, and when you get to the Olympia stage, it's an entirely different animal, you know. So now the best of the best fighting it out, guys that are structurally sound. So guys like him are going to fall a little short. All he could do is try to improve and you know, compensate for in good ways for ways that he's lacking.
And back to Rita's point, you can see by his upper body, he does seem to have a bit of layer of water on him, right? Like you can't really see his abs clear.
Yeah, I mean, he's not on. I'm not sure if he was any harder, it would have helped his placing. I think it's more of a structural, you know, deterrent, more or less. You know, he just got beat.
Yeah. I agree. And I also agree with Rita's point, where he might be holding a little water, but you might be right. Rita, what do you think? Do you agree with that? You think that if he came in a little drier, he would have moved up, or he would have been around the same?
I think he would have been about the same.
Yeah, I agree too. Now, just because we're on the open, what do you guys think of Blessing with all the hype behind him and whatnot?
I didn't know exactly what was going on. I just heard about it today, that there was something going on between him and Nick, and that Nick just completely blew him out of the water. And so I'm not sure if there was that much, you know, talking or rivalry between them, how he could have come in so far away. But
yeah, well, basically what has been happening for the last few months is Blessing has been firing shots on social media to Nick. I guess kind of thinking like they're both the new pros and whatnot. And Nick was kind of having fun with it, right, Jay? But I don't think he really took it very serious. What do you think?
Look, nobody likes to be talked down to, and there's guys that like to play that game. Look, it sells tickets. You know, it's good for sales. I don't like it because, you know, when you end up coming up short, it makes you look that much worse.
Yeah.
And in this case, it made Blessing look worse. You know, where Nick, you know, I think Nick's had some return fire on him, but Nick could back it up. You know, and Blessing is one of these guys, like I said, like excuse me, he looks great in the gym, looks great in photos, and you know, his showing at the Indy kind of, you know, made you look to see, oh, he's not as complete as we had hoped he would be for somebody who's firing shots at somebody like Nick Walker.
Right.
So you know, he's got to, you know, sit back and try to fix some things, and you know, reevaluate his physique. But you know, he's just not at the tier right now, not at that upper tier that Nick Walker's at.
Rita, it seems like to me like it's his legs that are holding him back. And you have like one of the best pairs of legs in women's bodybuilding today. Do you think he can improve on that?
Well, I mean, of course, I guess I just don't know how to answer that. There's always room to improve, right? To be honest, I think that, you know, like actually his abs, even though they look like the picture I'm looking at right now, he's almost trying to do a vacuum, but the lower abs don't come in like they're supposed to. So Probably
Right.
has some muscle, either muscle control or maybe distended abs. I only recognize it because I have, I have
see.
to with that myself. So his legs again, there's just like no definition above the teardrop. I'm not, or very little.
Mm-hmm.
And that one that you have up on the screen right there, I mean, anybody at this level should have side striations in their butt. That I don't know,
Right.
how you could even not have something going on there.
Right.
So I think that, there's, I don't know what happened in a week, but I don't, like I said, I guess I don't know what he looked like in Indy Pro, but you said he won the Indy Pro, right?
No, he came in third in the Indy Pro.
Oh, okay.
Who won the Indy Pro? Justin Rodriguez won the Indy Pro.
Oh, Justin. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah. I don't know if you guys follow boxing, but you could talk crap if you perform like Floyd Mayweather. There have been boxers that have talked crap and then they perform like, his name is Adrian Broner, and he got like knocked out 3 times and he still talks crap. And to me, that was Blessing's debut. That was, you just got knocked out. The good thing is,
I'm looking through his pictures too on the NPC site, and his posing's off as well. He's like hunched over when he should, in places that he should be upright more. So it could be a matter of just needing to show he's got a little bit better too.
Yeah. Well, he's a young dude, right? I don't know how old he is, but I know this is his only second pro show, and they're only a week apart. So I guess he probably has to find his comfort zone on stage and learn how to pose better. And I don't know. I'm not a big fan of shit talking, but whatever. All right, so why don't we let's see if we could jump to 212, which was a big surprise, right? 212 was, I believe it was Nathan Epler.
Yeah.
And let's see, where are we? Here we go. Is this him? No, that's not him. Where the hell is he? Where are you, Nathan?
I believe that one guy
he's got to be down lower, right? Is this him? I don't know. No, that's John Jewett, right? Yeah.
He's black shorts number 18. I think it's that guy that's scrolling up right now. That one there, yeah.
No, that's Derek Olslin, whatever the hell his name is.
I see him with the teal color trunks.
Let me see if don't tell me.
Unless he changed him, I've got him up from the NPC site, and he's wearing black shorts with a number 18.
Let's see.
That might have been from prejudging.
Oh, okay.
I got him at the finals in like a teal color.
Okay.
Let's see. Well, maybe sometimes they hide these guys. No. Well, all right. You know what? Let's just go to his Instagram and then we could find him, right? That would be easier, because I'm pretty sure I looked him up last night. Let's see. His name is where are we? Nathan Epler. Where are you? There you are. Okay, here we go. All right. So Jay, go ahead. What do you think? Give us your opinion on his win at the 212.
Well, this was actually not a bad lineup. You have your top 5 guys all, him and Jewett were tough. That was it. I thought Jewett looked good also. But Nathan's got a good balanced physique. He's complete, things flow well. I think he's got to make some improvements, on his way to the Olympia before he gets on stage next to guys like Sean, these guys that are just heavily, densely muscled. It might be a big jump for him. But good showing, great shape, great future. Poses well and looks good in pretty much all the mandatories.
Yeah, I was surprised that when I had John Jewett winning. But I guess, what do you think, Rita? Why do you think they chose him?
So let me see the John Jewett guy.
Okay, let's see. Let's go back since we know. Come on, let's go. Get out of the way. let's see.
Oh, okay, the second place.
Let's see. John.
Oh, okay.
Let me
Huh.
see. Oh, here he is. Right.
Okay.
No, that's Nathan Epler. I'm sorry. I left the screen and then there he is. All right, so that's Nathan. And do we have a picture of
So
John?
John Jewett's this bald guy, right?
Yeah, let me see.
Okay.
Where is he? I know I got him somewhere around here. So good. You could until I find
He
him.
definitely had better shoulders. And
Yeah, oh no.
you know what it is? It's hard for me to say because if you ask me, I personally thought I think the Jewett guy looks better. But he has smaller legs for sure. Smaller legs for sure. And I'm just looking at the front right now of him.
Mm-hmm.
But see, even his backside looks good. So why would they pick him? I'm not, I mean, definitely Ethan's got the bigger shoulders, but I personally just thought his arms were kind of out of proportion. Maybe it's his shoulders that are out of proportion because his arms look funny compared to the rest of him.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I agree with you. So go ahead, keep going.
And so I think Jewett's abs look better, but they're distended. And so sometimes I don't personally understand exactly. I guess, it always depends on what the judges are looking for that day. But if I look at the other two guys in this lineup I'm looking at too, they're all distended and Ethan isn't. So maybe that was just, have flatter abs, even though, they're not as defined as Jewett. But Jewett definitely had smaller legs.
Yeah, they do seem to be punishing guys that can't control their midsection in the last couple of years. What do you think, Jay? Why'd they give Nathan Epler the nod on this one?
Look, it's easy for us to sit here and Monday morning quarterback this, but what we don't see is the live footage, the stuff that happens in transition from one post to the next.
Absolutely.
And that's what we miss. I think John Jewett's got a great physique. I think that was a tough call for the judges. I probably would have gone with John. I guess they had their reasons. We have to respect that. But
of course.
I think down the road, John has a better shot of some of the bigger shows just because of his structure. Where I think Nathan, from the rear, his legs are a little straight up and down. From the calves flowing up into his hamstrings, where I think Jewett, shows a little more balance. But again, these guys are going to have a big step up when they get to the bigger stage. But we have to be there to see, what happens in transition is one of their stomachs that they look like they have small waists. So I don't know if it would have been a bloating issue that caused Jewett to drop, and for Nathan to prevail there. But I think Jewett's arms show better from the front, from the rear. He looks good. Jewett looks good from all the angles.
He does. I'm looking at Jewett right now, and it looks like Nathan is a little crisper, a little harder, but Jewett is holding a little bit more money. Muscle.
That could have been the deciding factor. Who knows?
Yeah. You know what it is? Honestly, with 212. Especially that these guys have to make weight. 212 is so deep. I mean, there were guys in the 212 I've never heard of in every comp. The guy who won last week in the Indy, I never heard of him. I have no clue who he is. The 212 is so deep. And I think because they have to make weight, it forces them to come in shredded. Am I right, Rita, or what do you think?
Yeah.
What about you, Jay? You think, am I out to something or?
No, I disagree. These guys are professionals. They got to come in shape,
no matter what,
whether they're making weight or not. And I don't know if any of these top guys really had trouble making weight. It's not like the days of your Flex Lewis's, and
good point.
Yeah, I mean these guys that were sucking. Kevin English, who had to suck down to make it back when it was 202 and even 212.
Yes.
So I think these guys were on point when it came to weigh-ins. But some of the smaller guys, it's just we are trained. This was my class, so I kind of it's right up my alley when it comes to this. We know we got to come in shape. We know who we're going against. Where the bigger guys have done well recently. In the past, I could see some of the bigger guys were off, but I think it's more balanced now when it comes to coming in shape. But I don't know if making the weight, We know we got to
Okay.
be, we got to be ripped, or they're not going to look at us. So I don't know if making weight is
No,
really.
point. Yeah, no, you're right. You're right about that. Is the 212 deep? Because it seems real deep. I mean, like you said,
Look,
the
you
upper
have to-
echelon, the Olympia is one thing.
So you have to factor in, you have 7 weight classes in the amateur rankings of bodybuilding, and 5 of them could be, in the up to the 212 mark. If you have somebody who's a heavyweight who's on the verge, that leaves 2 classes at most that are going over. So your majority of your guys are falling into this 212 class, which creates a window, of opportunity for some of these, lighter guys to be relevant in the sport. I was blessed when they announced the 202-pound class, in 2008, because, we're getting lost in the lineup with these guys that are 280, 290 pounds. It's a big disadvantage.
Right.
But yeah, they're deep because you got these guys that are hungry, that like competing, that have grinded it out on the national scene for years, that have earned their pro status and want to do something with it. And now they have an opportunity to show it and make something out of it. So, I'm not surprised there's a lot of 212 guys.
All right. So the number 3 guy, Noel Adamy, when he first came out, Rita, when this guy first came out on stage, I was like, whoa, who's beating this guy? And then to Jason's point, when you put him next to the other guys, you go, oh, okay. He comes out on stage and he looks monstrous.
Right.
What do you think, Rita? Because when he was standing next to the other guys, his shape was off. What do you think?
Actually, I think he looks good.
Yeah, he was a monster. I mean,
Small calves, I guess, but
let me see if I could find a picture of them lined up together. I don't know if I can. But he looked huge. What do you think, Jay? Why do you think they gave him 3rd if he's
I think Noel, great legs, and he was competitive with everybody up there, maybe even better in the leg development than everybody else. But I think there was a big difference between his lower body development and his upper body development. And that's where I think the other guys kind of classed him out a little bit. They're a little more balanced. But if this guy works on his upper body a little more to balance that out, he's got some future ahead of him too.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of a Kevin English type. Am I right? Like very massive, a lot of muscle.
A lot of muscle, big sweeping thighs. But as you can see, if you cut him in half, it looks like they're on 2 different levels, the lower half and the upper half,
Yeah. What do you think, Reed? Do you think that's accurate? Because I'm looking at the picture right now.
yeah.
Yeah, his upper body seems to be out of proportion. I didn't even think Jay's got a better eye than I do.
Well, and you know what? It's not even what I would say, because what I'm noticing is like at the hip, where your waist kind of meets the top of your thigh there. That looks a little wide, or like flowy. So so it must be that is it because his waist is wide? Is that what it is, Jason?
It could be. It's hard to tell in these shots. I have another shot of him, like even there in the rear double bicep shot. His legs are dominant. He needs more of that pop, from his upper body. And his front double bicep, he looks a little flat going across his upper torso, his upper chest. It kind of flattens out a little. Where another year of training, of some heavy training with this guy, even from the rear lat spread, it's a little more thickness in the lats, a little more detail. But once he balances his upper torso out to match the impressiveness of his lower half, he'll have some stronger ground to stand on.
Have we? I can't think of any bodybuilder who had tremendous legs and had to bring up his upper body. I mean, I'm sure it's happened. Can you think of any, Jay?
Well, you have Tom Platz, in the legendary parts of the sport, but some guys, I'm not sure how Noel turned pro, but sometimes guys just have better leg development, and you put them at a national level, and it's such a big difference between who's going to take first and second, that they give it to this guy. And just because you turn pro doesn't mean you're necessarily ready to be relevant as a pro. Some guys take a couple of years before they start getting into that refinement and the developmental stages of where, look, this is years of training and everybody wants to rush everything, but to develop a championship physique. You got to put the time in. This doesn't happen overnight. You get some guys that are freaks, that are genetic freaks, like a Nick Walker, that could do it. But we're not all like that. Some guys have to put a little more time under tension and improve to be relevant. And I think this guy could be one of them. He definitely has the structure to do that, and just needs a little more size in his upper body to match the lower half.
Rita, what do you think is more difficult? Do you think bringing up your upper body to match your legs, or vice versa, bringing up your legs to match your upper body? What do you think is more difficult?
I'm like I'm a big leg developer, so
yeah.
I think that just in general, I think it's harder to bring your legs up. I think the people don't tend to train their legs as hard. I don't know if it's just not as fun or what it is, but I think that it's harder to get your legs up.
You
so
agree
if
with
your
that,
upper
Jay?
body's the problem, I think it's a little easier.
Okay. Jay,
So,
you agree with that? Or
look, there's guys that have genetics that develop area. We all have it. Certain areas develop better than the rest. The last thing you want is to have issues with your calves, because that's the toughest muscle to develop.
Yeah.
Just like Rita said, it could be a point where leg training is grueling. It's tough to develop those types of legs. But if it's an equal playing field, if it's an equal playing field where guys have the same intensity, same work ethic, then it really doesn't matter, what's harder or not. It's whatever they're genetically inclined to build faster and better than the other body parts. So they just have to pay mind and put that extra time, into developing the areas that they're not genetically blessed in. But it could be harder to develop a back. There's guys that have weak arms. That doesn't matter what you do. Your arms are always going to be weak. There's guys with weak legs that it doesn't matter how much they squat. Their legs are always going to be a little bit behind. It's a balancing game, and you got to manipulate your training around that. That's the difference between what makes a quality professional and an also-ran. Guys that know how to train properly, where you back off certain things to spend time and bring up areas that will help complete your physique.
Well, that's what makes it a sport too. So
that's exactly it. But there's not a lot of guys that do that. They just want to train everything hard and heavy, and nothing improves when you do that. You got to back off some of the other stuff and allow time to develop the areas where you're lacking.
Okay. So, excuse me, moving on. The guy who came in fourth in 212, I mean, he looked really good. Derek Oslin. Another 212 guy I never heard of till yesterday. What'd you think of him, Jay?
He actually good physique. I think he looks good from a lot of different angles. A little more time, a little more maturity, a little more detail, but he made a good showing for himself. I've seen him before, not quite sure where, but definitely he's got a decent future.
Rita, what'd you think? You think he lacked the muscle to compete with the top three guys?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it seems to me too, because it looks like he's got great shape.
Things are there. He's complete. He just needs more time.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is, but I have to agree because he came in shape. I just think he lacks the muscle to compete with the top three guys that beat him. And let's see, the guy who came in fifth, he was my favorite guy. Because the way, if it's the guy that I'm thinking of, Justin Randall. Yeah, if it's the guy I'm thinking of, I really liked watching this guy. Is this the guy with the bald head and the beard?
Yes.
Yeah. He had to be what, 5'2"?
Justin's a friend of mine. Justin's from Massachusetts, and
he looked like he was having a blast up there.
This was the best showing I've seen him in. He looked great at this show. He was hard, but he knows it. He loves bodybuilding. He loves being up there. He knows he's not the prettiest guy to look at, but for him to be in this lineup with these guys is a great thing for Justin. But the guy's a workhorse, dude. He puts the work in. He's an animal.
Yeah, he was on stage. This was last week, but he was on stage at the New York Pro, and he came in fifth, and he was happy as a pig in shit. He was happy to be up there. and he was a lot smaller. How tall is he, Jay?
He's about 5'2". I think you're right.
Yeah. What do you think, Reed? He's got that hard, dense, grainy, like muscle, like over time. What do you think?
Yeah. I don't know.
All right,
You're
good.
right.
Yeah, he looks. How old is he, Jay?
Justin's young. I think he's close to 30 now, I believe.
Really? Because he looks like he has that mature muscle look to me.
Well, that's hard work, man. That's what hard work does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. What do you think he could improve upon, Rita?
Oh, well, let's see. His back.
Yeah,
His back is not as defined.
yeah. Could you be a little thicker? Right. Came in shape though. He was chiseled.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he was happy. So this was like his best placing.
He's taken, I believe, third before at one of the other pro shows. I think it was 2 years ago before the pandemic. But he's whatever needs to be done, he'll do it. But again, he's got one of those physiques where he's gonna be tough to beat some of the upper guys just because of proportions, shape, structure. But he makes up for it, with his mental maturity, his conditioning, and his presentation. He glows when he's out there.
Yeah, he definitely does. He's happy to be there. And it's nice to see guys like that. Last night when Justin lost to Nick, you could see a little bit of disappointment on him. And I understand. Listen, I'm not on the same level, but I'm sure, you two guys have been there where it's like, oh man, you really thought you had that, right? And you're like really disappointed. You're like, wait a minute, but Justin, shook Nick's hand, but he kind of had he had a little bit of disappointment on his face, and I get it. Whereas Justin Randall, like, he was just happy to be there. He was just like, Chris is great. That says a lot about a person's character,
Yeah.
All right, so why don't we move on to the ladies? This is Rita's specialty. Let's see. Oh, here we go. This is number 1. Leah Denny.
Yeah.
I thought she deserved the win. What did you think, Rita?
She definitely looked the best of the girls that were up there.
Mm. Yeah, I thought she came in hard, defined. I mean, here we go. Here's the lineup. You really can't see it well. But what threw me off was the girl who came in number 2. What'd you think, Rita? Because I don't know.
So 2 was the blonde, right?
No, 2 was LaDawn McDay.
LaDonna, okay, right. Yeah. Okay, yes. I am surprised as well. I mean, very, very blurred. Everything on her was very blurred. And she had like big lats, but that was, I'm not going to say that's the only thing. It's just that they were overpowering to anything else. And so to come in second, I think, I'll tell you what I think it is because what I also noticed is that there's a lot of wide waists, way more wide waist than I've ever seen in like a female lineup. And her waist comes in like it should. And, but
yeah, I think that was it too. I think it was just the structure that gave her number 2, but she was softer than any of the girls.
Yes.
On stage. What did you think, Jay?
So I agree with Rita in the sense that, look, I'm not sure the age group of everybody, of all the women up there, but it looks like you get a certain age and there's certain things you can't fight, and your waists get wider, your hips get bigger, and I think that showed in a lot of the women's bodybuilding last night, where where the women's physique might be a younger group and they look a little different. But yeah, there was a lot to be desired, I guess. After seeing this, not sure of the call outs, how they went. I'm sure they did the best they could. but there were some structural flaws in them in the top 5, and some skin issues, I could say. But definitely wider waists than I would have liked to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And descended too. Like at least 2 of them have.
Yeah, I don't want to
pretty
look. You know,
descended.
these girls are athletes too, and they fight to be there. And it's good they're bringing this back. And we'll see the progression of this as it moves forward. But yeah, not
Yeah, not the best bunch.
here. I think you get the point.
Yeah.
Was this the first year that they had women's bodybuilding back in the New York Pro? Because it wasn't there before.
Yeah, I believe this is the first year they had it back at the New York Pro.
So it could be that too. It could be, you know, that there may have been people that weren't aware it was there. There could be, you know, because women's bodybuilding is only just coming around. You know,
well, that's the thing also. It's usually that older generation of people that were the women's bodybuilders, and it's progressed where some figure girls now go over to women's physique because they've put on a good amount of muscle. So that would tend to be the younger generation of girls where the women's bodybuilding is something they brought back. It's a different generation. And I think the women's division, the women's bodybuilding division, needs to be a little more relevant before it starts attracting some of the younger crowd that could make better showings.
Yeah.
So to both of your point, the girl who came in 3rd, 4th, and 5th, but the girl who came in 3rd, Tamara Marker, I believe it's the girl with the short blonde hair. She did have a wide waist. She came in hard as nails, you know. As you could see from here, from this, it's not a good picture, but you could see from the side chest, you know, her hamstring and her glutes and her quads. She was chiseled. But what did you think, Rita?
Again, I think that, let me pull her up specifically. Okay, so all right, so why, you know, in the shows, I've only done a few shows. I got my pro card, my 2nd show, and I've only done 1 pro show, so I don't have a lot of experience with this. But in the shows that I have seen, you know, and been around, they just look different than this. And what I've noticed is that, especially when you have a show that only had a couple of women in it to begin with, they don't always, you know, they don't always look right. And maybe they wouldn't have been in the place that they were had there been more competition. Okay. Now I'm not saying that's the only, you know, I'm not putting anybody down or anything like that. But like, so the 3rd place woman has, and I guess I'm just looking at one picture of her right now, but absolutely no definition in her abs, and she was wide to begin with. So yeah, and even over here, I forgive me because I don't know exactly how to speak to this, but something's going on with her obliques. You know, like she has that center ab part, and then the obliques are there, but it doesn't look right to me. They're either not defined or it's just has something to do with the waist being wide. But I know I have a wide waist, and mine, I can, you know, I have definition on. So I don't know what's going on with her waist. Her shoulders and arms look awesome, and her legs look good. I personally, and this might be just a women's thing, because you know, I personally think that the legs should be bigger, you know, more round. But I've always compared. When I try to think about what I want to look like, I always look at the guys. I'm never looking at the women. So that you know, that might be okay for women. I don't know. I personally just think that their legs aren't big enough. But
yeah, I kind of noticed that too when they all came out. I was, you know, because I guess the only girl bodybuilding shows I concentrate on is the Wings of Strength or the Olympia, right? So I guess that's the best of the bunch. It's kind of like similar to what we were talking about with the 212, right, Jay? Where it's like, oh, you're looking at these guys, they look good, but those, you know, the Wings of Strength and the Olympia, it's a different level,
right? And so that's why I'm trying to I'm trying to be careful, because I'm not very experienced in judging all the different levels. I kind of popped in a different level because I had the powerlifting behind me, but that's just the first thing, my first impression when I look at her.
And Anne Sheehan came in 4th. I was hoping she'd have a better picture of her from the New York Pro on her profile, but it doesn't. But same kind of thing. I mean, she looks chiseled. but with the wide waist. What'd you think, Rita?
I actually expected when I heard her name, you know, because she's been around, so I kind of expected her to do better than this.
Mhm.
But she has the same thing going on with her obliques as well. Her legs, I think the shape of her legs look nicer, but she is not very defined. She's holding water. Her arms, and then maybe this is just a picture I'm looking at, but her arms don't look big enough in this picture anyway either. It seems, I don't know. Nah, see, her triceps are hanging, but she has I personally just think they're lacking a little bit.
I see. And let's see. And then number 5 was Wendy Sanchez. Let's see if I could bring her up. Wendy Sanchez. I don't know if I did the New York Pro, I would be posting pics immediately. Oh, wrong Wendy Sanchez. That's just some sexy Spanish girl. Sorry.
It's OnlyFans.
Yeah. Is there a Wendy Sanchez? I don't know. All right. Well, you know what? We'll just go back to buys and tries. You know, that's I don't know. I'm of the opinion they should give the women's bodybuilding a little bit more respect. Like, look at all the pictures of the men bodybuilding. You know, just throw up the 5 girls on your buys and tries. I mean, I know they're the women, but come on, give me a break. It's still bodybuilding.
Wendy looks like she's probably a little older. I don't know her. I've never heard of her, but just looking at her. I'm on the NPC site. That's where I'm looking at everybody.
Oh,
from.
okay, good.
So she just looks like she's a little bit older. She has a very long torso, so I don't know if that makes it more difficult, you know, with the abs. She has a long torso, but her legs are smaller.
Yes.
Defined, but small.
Yeah. I've noticed that too. Yesterday she had her legs were separated. Her hamstrings and glutes looked amazing, but she didn't have the same dense muscle as the rest of the girls. All right, so that covers the 3, but the one that I wanted to ask you guys about, Morgan Asti. I mean, this guy is like a freak of freak. My opinion is that, you know, he comes in the best shape possible. The guy comes in chiseled. But what do you think, Jay, before I give my opinion? What do you think holds him back?
Well, where was his placing actually in New York?
I think he was like in the top, I think he was either 7th or 8th or something like that. He's 6'2". He's 300 pounds on stage.
Yeah, he's a big dude. But again, when you're at that height, you know,
Right.
and you're it's not in this sport, it's not to your advantage. You know, if you're, you know, 5'11", 6 foot, like a Cutler or Ronnie Coleman, you got to have the size, you know, to back that up. And what did he weigh for this?
He was 300 pounds on stage. He's normally 350, I think, on the off season.
Yeah,
he's a massive. Let me see if I can pull it up. He's a massive human being.
Yeah.
But I just let's see if they have him. I think it was his structure, to be honest with you, because, you know, from the back.
His name was?
I'm sorry.
What name are you talking about?
Morgan Asti.
Oh, okay.
Let me see if I could find him. Morgan Asti. There we go. You know, he's a huge human being, you know, just tremendous. But I think, and he comes in shape, I think it's his structure, to be honest with you. What do you think, Rita?
I think he looks great. So I think that, you know, like Jason was saying, that if this guy is that tall, every like individual picture I've looked, they all look this tall. So maybe, you know, being next to the other guys, it's, you know, whenever you're shorter, if you got muscle on you when you're shorter, it looks bigger. You know what I mean?
Just give you guys this is like basically how big he is, you know. Let's see. He's a huge human being. Like, he looks like he could be like in the next Batman movie or something, you know.
Right. Looks like
and
I guess, you know, I mean, if I'm just clicking through his pictures, he just he doesn't quite have the same kind of flow the other guys did. You know, the transition from upper body to lower body is not the same. No,
definitely. But he's usually it's very difficult for guys his size to come in shape. Am I right, Jay? Usually guys.
No, not necessarily. Like, you know, there was taller guys, you know, in earlier generations, like your Ralph Mullers and your, you know, Gunther Schler camps.
Good. Yes. Good point. Good point.
You know, and they held their grounds, but again, you know, like you got to be stacked. You know, it just when you put him next to somebody who's 5'10" and proportionally correct, it flow. Rita was right. It's the flow of things.
Yes.
And these guys look great by themselves, and he's a big dude, man. He's
Yeah.
But you know, I think he's relatively. I don't think he's too old. I think he's relatively young.
I don't know how old he is, but
Yeah.
yeah,
So
he only turned pro, I think, 2 years ago.
yes, I for some reason I'm thinking he's in his mid-30s. I could be wrong, but I think he's in the mid-30s, which he still has a couple years to. Believe it or not, somebody his size could still actually put a little more muscle on him,
Mhm.
and it wouldn't work against him. You know, when he's being compared to some of the shorter guys. So, but yeah, I mean, great physique. I mean, you look at him like that, and you can't really say anything diminishing. You know, but when you see him next to some of the other guys, it's the flow and it's the the balance between the length of the body parts and and the flow and the symmetry of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I was going to say, as I click through some of his pictures, that's what I'm noticing too. It's like, okay, yeah, he's got big legs, and his from the front, he looks great. But then when he's doing these side poses, his legs don't look quite big enough for his upper body. So he's got a little bit, so if his stomach is a little bit distended, those legs have got to be huge to make everything flow the right way.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, yeah, he does have a little bit of distension. I don't know if he's going to be able to fix that or not. Rita, did we lose you? Because I'm looking at your computer right now.
Oh, okay. See, I couldn't see, so I was trying to bring up the picture I had of him.
Oh, okay.
But I can't see what's going on.
Now
I can't. So I'm going to turn it back around because I can't.
okay.
There you go.
Now I don't know. The biggest disappointment to me, and let me know if you guys agree. Maybe it's just me. Was Samir Trudy. He just signed a big contract with Hostel, and he was chosen to win the Indy last year. They were tossing up between him and Justin Jewett, and he came in really off. What'd you think, Jay?
You want to pull him up? I don't remember even seeing pictures of him.
Let me see if I could find him. Yeah, I think only a couple of months ago he signed I don't know how much, but a relatively good contract with Hostel.
Right.
And he really did not deliver. He came in, he had no definition, holding a layer of water. So honestly, it was so bad. I was thinking to myself that maybe I can't find him on here. It was so bad. I was thinking maybe that I remember when De La Rosa had a bad outing a couple of years ago. He was going through some personal things. That's what I was actually thinking, to be honest with you. Let me see if I can find him. No, it's what. Rita, are you on? You're on the NPC?
Yeah.
Or are you on Instagram, or is there in
No, contest.npcnewsonline.com.
Let me see. Let me go to that. Come on, let's get out of here. This stupid thing.
I will send you. I don't know if you can get to it. I'll send you the link to your Facebook right now. That's great. Said Proudy himself.
Let me see. What was it? www.contest.
Contest.npcnewsonline.com.
See.
I sent you the link to your Facebook.
No, that's not it. Let me see. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to cut this out tomorrow. That's what's good thing about this. You could just cut it out. Let's see. Where's my Facebook?
What's his name again?
Samir, Samir, Trudy, Trudi.
It was 9th.
He was 9th. Yeah. Let me see if I can.
And I got him now. Yeah, not in shape at all.
No.
I mean, he looks like he's a couple weeks away from being in shape, but He just not a good showing.
Yeah, which, like I said, which is really disappointing because he just signed a pretty good contract, and people were talking about how he could be the winner of the Indy Pro and whatnot.
See, to be honest, he was so off that it's hard to even give him credit like that, because I mean he's beyond retaining water. He's got some fat,
Yeah, I noticed that.
Where you can't really see the detail that you would like to see to even appreciate whether this guy's ready for that caliber. I don't think he made a good showing for himself. Hopefully he could turn around for his next show and show people what he can do, but not a good showing at all.
No, definitely not. You know what? Screw it. Fuck it. I'm skipping it. Yeah, it's like I said, he was so off that it made me think maybe he had some kind of personal issue. Because the only time I've seen guys that off for a contest is when something else is influencing them. Family, girlfriend, whatever the case may be. But I mean, he's young and he could just easily fix it. But when you pick to win or come in second, that's got to be pretty disappointing. I'm sure he's disappointed in him, but like I said, maybe there's other circumstances going on. I don't know. What about how did you deal with that, Jay, when you had personal things going on in your life? How did you deal with competing in a contest?
Well, look, we always have personal things going on in our life. It's why is one better than the next? I went through a divorce and a bankruptcy and criminal charges, 1 year, and still managed to make it to the Night of the Champions. And 1 year I had a baby coming along the way, a new business, a new house, getting ready for one of my Olympias. I had my wife delivering one of our babies while I was in air flying home for my first Olympia. They were stressful all the time, dude. Not one of these guys or girls, okay, can tell you my prep was easy. I had no outside interference.
Good point.
So to say that, that's an excuse, and if things are so bad, if you can't eat or train or do your cardio, then you don't do the show.
Mm-hmm.
You have to take a step back and say, listen, there's outside elements here that I can't control, and I cannot prepare for this properly. When it comes to a girl issue, I mean, come on, like that's we're professional athletes. We're paid to be there. This is the sport we chose. I don't know what happened with him. I'm not saying that's the instance.
Right.
Who knows? Maybe they just threw him in the show to see how he would fare. Maybe it was part of his contract and he really didn't want to do it. I remember my last year at the New York Pro, I did not want to do it. I was ready to retire. Mm-hmm. And, I spent the whole year being off and not preparing. And I made a horrible, showing on my way out. It was the physique. And I was already 41 years old. I was done, and, but I'm not sure what happened with this guy. But at the end of the day, we all have issues, and that's what makes us professionals. That's what makes us champions is the ability to overcome them and deal with them and deal with circumstances when they happen and allow yourself to still prevail and to still come ahead. Every athlete in the world, dude, nobody has a great camp. Nobody's camps are perfect. You can't tell me one day going to work that, you stub your toe in the morning, you get a flat tire, you run out of gas, you get a fight with your wife in the morning, who knows, whatever, but it happens to all of us. But being a professional, you gotta rise above that.
Mm-hmm. Rita, do you think some people could just handle it better than others? If that's the case, if it is a stress thing?
Can some people handle it? I mean, yes, I guess, I suppose some people handle it better, but it's just about a choice, if you choose to let other things if your goal is to do the show, so let's just say it's to do the show, right? And you choose to let other things get in the way, then, then so be it. I mean, yes, some people handle stress better, but that's because they make the choices that get it out of the way or get them past it. So.
And how about you? I know you've only done, what'd you do, 3 shows?
Yeah, bodybuilding.
And when you, and you know, were you opening your gym during that 3rd show, or you did it afterwards?
During this, yeah, no, it was after the second. It was between the 2.
So how did you, and you look pretty good from what I remember in that, was the Chicago Wings of Strength?
Chicago Pro.
Yeah. And how did you deal with all that stress? It doesn't get to you. And some people thrive on it too. Like some people love that crap. Like I know Guy Sistinino, from what I've heard, I don't know him personally, but what I heard, the more crazy his life is, the better he comes in shape.
Yeah. And I'm actually kind of similar to that, only because I get stubborn against it, you know. I start shutting things out and say, nope, not dealing with that. I got shit to do right now. So, but it's, I guess, you know, what Jason was saying, you just got to be realistic about what you're doing. There is no such thing as I can't do it because of blah, blah, blah. If you want to do it, you're going to make it happen. And it's, you know, some people have less to get through to get there than others do, but it's still a matter of, you know, taking one step at a time and getting there. And if you're not willing to do what you've got to do, it doesn't necessarily mean that's not necessarily even a bad thing, but you need to be realistic. If you're not going to do what you got to do, then like he said, you back off and you do something else. And if you're going to choose to let these other things get in the way, then okay, that's your reality. Go take care of that stuff and come back when you're ready to give your focus to the show.
Right. Yeah. I couldn't agree more. Easier said than done. You two, probably because you were top pros, could probably deal with it better than most. But Jay, is there in contracts, whatever it is, or whether endorsement deals or, you know, the IFB, whatever, however the contracts work, I don't know. In the contracts, are there a certain amount of shows you have to do a year, or it's completely up to you?
Well, it's up to the contract and what you're signing on to. You know, he could have signed on where he's responsible to compete a couple times a year and represent the company. It could not be part of his contract at all, and they just want him to post on social media and help his following, you know, develop brand awareness. Every contract is drafted up differently. So only he could tell you that. But for the most part, you know, I'm a supplement owner. You know, if I'm signing an athlete, you know, I want him competing. I want him on stage. I want him to make a presence. You know, but you want to make sure this guy's representing well. So who knows? But any contract could be structured accordingly.
Oh, I see. So when you were before you had your own, before you had Prevail Subs, when you were with MHP, was that something that was in the contract? You had to do a certain amount of shows?
I think it's a while ago. I was required to make appearances, do demos for the company, work the booth for the company. I don't know if I was forced to compete, but I was a new pro. I was eager to compete. So, you know, I think I guaranteed them 2 shows a year, if that was even a clause in the contract. If not, it was just a verbal commitment. But these, you know, these guys want to see you compete. You know, that's what you're paid for. You're paid to, you know, you don't want to pay a wide receiver in the NFL and he wants to sit out every game, you know, like
right.
Making a difference and catching balls and scoring touchdowns. It's no different with these athletes. You know, if you're representing a company, they want you out there representing. Sometimes it's just for social media, like you get with these ambassadors. But when you're getting a pro with this quality, you know, you want to see them on stage and you want to see them representing your brand. Look, he's using my product. I just had 2 guys this weekend that represent my brand that just won the Junior USAs. We won the light heavyweight and the heavyweight division. These are guys that, you know, support my brand and use the product. So it was a great week for me and the company and for them. As his contract states, I couldn't tell you, but you definitely want guys out there, you know, showing face.
Yeah, that's I couldn't agree more. Rita, when you did the Chicago Wings of Strength, did you have an endorsement or that was all you?
That was just me.
I thought so. Do the girls, especially the bodybuilding girls, do they have a more difficult time getting endorsements from supplement companies?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Because you know what? It's very impressive, but the population of people that find it impressive is very small comparatively. And so if you're a company that's trying to sell your stuff out to the masses, there realistically isn't a lot of women that want to look like me. That's just not
right.
And so you know, I don't know about other women. I know that I've seen a couple of them. I think there was some water or something like that. I saw Rashana, is that her name? Was sponsoring with Teresa. I think she does good sponsoring, but she has a very pretty look to her face, but she didn't do well with bodybuilding anyway. But I think that, like, I don't know, for me, I look more for companies that are a little bit on the edgier side, you know, that are appealing to kind of like an edgy type of crowd, not the mass crowd, not the mass that you're trying to sell to everybody widely. So yeah, I think women bodybuilding anyway has a harder time with that.
Yeah, I would think so, and I think you hit the nail on the head. So before we go, how's the gym doing, Rita? I mean, after COVID, it's doing good.
Oh yeah, it's doing good.
I see a lot of members on Instagram and whatnot. Looks like Jay, she's got like an old school diamond gym kind of deal, and she opened it up. When did you open it?
2 years ago.
Yeah, and good. She made it looks exactly like an old school hardcore gym, right?
Yeah.
So you have all the. It looks like a dungeon. It looks like, you know.
It's right up my alley.
Go ahead.
It was this old building falling apart, and I had the owner had to put a new roof on before I'd buy it, but it was just this big block building. I've got no windows, and I said when I opened it up, I wanted it to look like it'd been sitting there for 35 years.
Where's it located?
Syracuse, New York.
Oh, okay. We're in Jersey. I'm in Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's not too many of them left in Jersey. You got Diamond, right?
Diamond.
You got Bodyworks.
Bodyworks. You got a Tillis. You have Strong and Shapely.
Strong and Shapely, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
The Pollen. There's a few. Now you have those Iron Culture, Iron Revolution gyms that are making a name for themselves now, where it's the newer equipment, but the hardcore, environment, the hardcore atmosphere. Not a dungy look, everything's new and pretty.
Yeah, no, Rita's gym
I wanted nothing in my gym shiny. I told them even the stuff I bought brand new, I didn't want it shiny. And
Jay, did you do your research on Rita? Did you know that she was a powerlifter and still holds 2 women's world records in squatting?
Unfortunately, I was gone all week. My research on everything we did today was all last minute. So
Rita, tell them what you squatted, and tell them what your body weight was when you squatted it.
Well, my equipped one, so raw, I had a record of raw of 148 with a 535 squat. My equipped squat was 165. Body weight was 705.
Whoa.
That's ridiculous. That's insane.
I'm a squatter.
And those still stand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely amazing. I don't care who you are, what your opinion is. That's impressive.
That's very impressive. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. I'm going to give one more plug because I got it right here. Rogue Pro, even though according to Jay, I abuse it and take 2 scoops, but it works well. And it doesn't taste too bad either. And if you're in Syracuse, it is Blood Iron Barbell. If you want to get big and strong, you go to Rheta West Gym. And that's it, guys. I really appreciate you coming on. This was like, I know I'm like a little kid, because, having 2 professional bodybuilders on talk to me about bodybuilding, to me is like, a dream come true. I know I sound stupid right now, but it happens to be true. I don't know. It's just me. I'm like a 45-year-old kid right now.
So, I want to thank you guys for putting up with me, because I know I'm not as experienced with all the people and their names and all this kind of stuff, but it was fun for me too. Because
that's it. You think I couldn't even bring up Samir Trudy's picture. Don't worry about it.
You did that right out.
Maybe we could do it again. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we could do like an Olympia or Arnold, if you guys aren't out of the. Well, actually, Rita might be doing the Olympia if she qualifies. So we'll see how it goes from there.
Okay.
But we'll definitely do it again, guys. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much, and have a great night. And I'll send you the link when it goes up. This should be up Tuesday. I'm trying to get it up tomorrow, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Gotcha.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You got it.